Okay, I think we are good to go. Hi, everyone. My name is Victoria Norton. I am the Executive Director of Give Pikes Peak. I'm excited to have join us today to learn a little bit more about the 2025 Give campaign. I have a PowerPoint that we're going to go through. I'm not going to open it up to a lot of questions right now. I am going to put my information at the end. So if you've got follow-ups or if you just want to raise your hand at the end, we can talk through it then. I'm just going to kind of blast through a lot of information to make sure that we all have the same understanding of what the campaign is, what we're doing, how it applies to our nonprofits here in the Pikes Peak region. And then after that, we can do follow-up questions. I am always happy to schedule time if for a quick phone call, if you want to meet for coffee, however it works. I know that everybody's nonprofit is very different. And so how the campaign works with your organization may be very different as well. So sometimes it's just easier to hop on a call and have a conversation or do an email instead of try to address it with the whole group. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. All right, give me a little thumbs up there if you can see everything. That's good to go. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so we have the 2025 Give campaign has started. Before we go much further, I just want to make sure that we are all talking about the same thing because there are a lot of campaigns, organizations, things that happen throughout the year that use this give language. And so I want to make sure that we all know that we're talking about the same things or things that we are not talking about. So you may have heard of things like the Give campaign. You may have heard of Indie Give. You may have heard of Give Pikes Peak or Colorado Gives or Colorado Gives Day or Colorado Gives Foundation. Some of these are the same things and some of these are not. So let's just talk about the differences just a little bit. So here in the Pikes Peak region, in Colorado Springs specifically, in 2009, the Give campaign was started by the Colorado Publishing Group. Those of you who've been in the city for a while may know about the Colorado Publishing Group, but if you haven't, it was just an organization of newspapers, especially small local newspapers that was run here in the city. It was the Independent newspaper, the Pikes Peak Bulletin, the Colorado Business Spring or Colorado Springs Business Journal, different organizations publishing products that were happening here in the city. And they started the Give campaign as kind of a seasonal philanthropic effort of the business. So it was run by the paper, by the staff of the paper at the Independent. It kind of became called Indie Gives because the paper, the Independent, was called the Indie a lot in shorthand. And so that's kind of how those names started. It was the Give campaign, the Indie Give, that was run by this business here in the Colorado Springs. As the campaign grew in popularity, as things became more formalized and it became a more regular thing, and the structure of the campaign came about. In 2016, they cycled off the campaign itself into a nonprofit. So that is when Indie Give, the 501c3 nonprofit, was created. So it was a separate entity from the Colorado Publishing Group, run by a community board, as it is to this day. But still worked very closely with the Colorado Publishing Group and the independent newspaper. It was still called Indie Gives, and had close ties with that organization. And as you may know, local newspapers have struggled over the last several decades in media, and the financial situation at the Colorado Publishing Group changed, and they were unable to financially support the campaign. And so then in 2022, we broke ties with the Independent, and then the Independent subsequently closed and became a nonprofit for a minute, and then was closed completely, and then thankfully has come back here to our city in the last year under new ownership and come back on as a media partner for us. But we are now completely separate entities from the Colorado Publishing Group, which no longer exists, and the Independent, which does exist and we have a partnership with. We are not financially tied to any other organization at this point. So to reflect that, we do have a new name, which is Give Pikes Peak. So since 2022, Give Pikes Peak has run the Give campaign. I know that is a lot of name and language changes, as I'm sure you're all aware with DBAs and things like that. But we are Give Pikes Peak, and we do run the Give campaign. We have been operating continuously the Give campaign, though, since 2009. And we have, in that time period, helped raise $19.5 million for local nonprofits. And so the legacy of the campaign is still very strong. Since 2022, we have been figuring out our own financial situation since we are not tied to a business anymore. So that's kind of what the history of that is. And how do we keep the campaign relevant and important and helpful to our nonprofit community as best? Colorado Gives is completely different. So I know that the name sounds very similar, but it's completely different. Hopefully, as a nonprofit, you do participate with Colorado Gives and Colorado Gives Day, as you should, because they are a great resource for nonprofits in the state of Colorado. The biggest differences are that Colorado Gives is run through a foundation in Denver. It is, and the majority of that stuff runs up through their offices there in the Colorado Gives Foundation. Their platform is statewide, and so you don't get the media opportunities, the local exposure, things like that. But it is a free platform, and we do partner with them. We brought them in for a workshop last year for our nonprofits to talk about how you can take advantage of both organizations at the same time. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat, but it's just me doing all the screens. So yes, we are not associated with Colorado Gives. We don't have any financial ties to them. Their website doesn't link to our website, none of that kind of stuff. We encourage our nonprofits to have a profile available. If you're part of the Give campaign, we encourage you to also have a profile on the Colorado Gives website because it is an open door for donors for you. And they do have some matching grant things that they have set up throughout the year. And workshops and resources, we want you to work with them because they offer great things for free for the entire state of Colorado nonprofits. So we are different, separate things, but we like them. Big thumbs up. We work with them throughout the year as well to make sure that we collaborate as best that we can with what they do. Okay, so let's talk about who is eligible to be a part of the Give campaign. So Give Pikes Peak runs the Give campaign every year. So who's eligible to be a part of that? One is that you have to be a Colorado 501c3 nonprofit or have a fiscal sponsorship. We were able to work with those of you who are still under the umbrella of another fiscal sponsor. But you must be in good standing with the state of Colorado for that. 2, your organization must be located in the Pikes Peak region of Colorado. However, if you are a regional or a national organization that just has an office in Colorado Springs, that's totally fine. We run across that all of the time. The only stipulation is that the funds that you raise through the campaign must be used exclusively for services and projects in El Paso and or Teller counties, which is what we identify as the Pikes Peak region. So, for example, Project Healing Waters is a nationwide organization that works with veterans. They have an office here in Colorado Springs. So all that we're looking for is to make sure that your budget has a separate line item for the office that affected here in the Pikes Peak region. So do you have your operating budget separated out into regions so that you can show us during your application that your the money that's raised here stays here, because that's really kind of what we're working for. The campaign is hyper local. We're trying to get our community involved, invested in what you're doing. And we don't want them to think that their money is going to Arizona or New York or something like that, that the money that they're giving is going to affect their community right here. But we are fully understanding that maybe your registration number or your 990 is folded up into a larger organization, and that's totally fine. We are familiar with that and are able to separate that out. The biggest things for us when you're doing that application is just to show us that you have a budget that's separate for the offices and the services that are done here. And also, the eligibility things that the review committee are looking at is we want to make sure that you've demonstrated that you have a local impact and that you have financial longevity. We don't want the Give campaign to be your only source of income. We don't want you to be in your first year of fundraising. And that's just because we are giving kind of our Give stamp of approval to our donors that we are bringing to the website of saying, these are organizations that we know are going to be here next year, that they're going to be able to take your money and make a difference in this next year. We're not looking for 10 years of eligibility, 10 years of financial records, any of that kind of stuff. We're just making sure that this is not your first year as an organization. If it is your first year as an organization, we're happy to kind of walk alongside you, see if maybe some of the workshop things that we can do together, but we're not going to put you in the campaign. So we are investing in local nonprofits, but we're also making sure that our donors know that the money is being spent here, being spent wisely, and is making an impact here in our community. And then we also have a diversity and non-discrimination policy that's comparable to the one that's been approved by the Give board. That is on our website. So if you have any questions about it, you can read through that. The review committee will be looking at your discrimination policy just to make sure that you've got one in place and that it's in line with what we do. We do, like I said a couple of times, we do have a review committee that will be looking at your applications. These are made up of board members, staff, and community members, most of which who volunteered to do this for several years and really enjoy getting to learn about the work that you're doing and are excited to kind of see if the campaign would be a good fit. So that's what you have to do to be eligible to apply. But here's some questions that I think are important for you to ask yourself. Is the Give campaign a good fit for your organization? These are things that we have been doing the campaign for so many years. There's some things that we just know that it's going to make it successful for you. We don't want you to be a part of the campaign if it's not going to be a benefit to you. So here's some of the questions to ask to make sure that it can really be beneficial for your organization. The biggest one is, do you have the capacity? We know that often small organizations don't have a ton of paid staff members or maybe any paid staff members, but do you have a volunteer or somebody who regularly checks their email and stays on top of things? Those are really important to have on your organization. It can take, depending on which month it is, somewhere between 5 to 10 hours a month to just make sure that you're staying on top of the Give newsletters, the requirements, things that are happening to make sure that you are meeting your deadlines for different things. We do have 2 liaison requirements. So you have to have 2 people whose email addresses and phone numbers I have access to. And this is just to make sure that, like, if I have questions about a donor question or a financial question or things like that, if a check showed up and I don't really know where it's supposed to go and I need to talk to somebody about it, do I have somebody that I can get in contact with quickly and reliably? That's really the important stuff there. There's a lot of opportunities in the campaign that used to be mandatory that we've made optional now, so that if you don't necessarily have to have 10 hours a month to dedicate to the campaign, but there is opportunities to take advantage of up to 10 hours a month as far as workshops go, different things that you should be planning on thinking about or have opportunities for, but they're not as mandatory. So you don't have to have as many hours available, but you could have that many. So having people dedicated capacity-wise. 2, we'll talk about matching grants on another slide in just a minute, but do you have the ability to secure a matching grant? Are you willing to ask for support early from your established donors already that value at least $500 or more? I'll talk about that in detail, but that's one to think about. 3rd, can you implement best practices in donor care? Are you able to take advantage of these new donors and volunteers that you're going to gain through the campaign? One of the biggest perks of the campaign is that most of our nonprofits see new donors every year, year over year. And what we're talking about is, do you have good donor stewardship practices figured out for your organization already? The campaign starts on November 1st with donor money coming in. And so by November 2nd, you are getting a daily email with all the donor information that they have made available to you. So if they have chosen to not remain anonymous, you can get a name, a phone number, an email, a mailing address. And is your system, do you have something set up in place in order to do a database, to do some kind of donor stewardship? Have you thought through those different things already? We have workshops. We'll spend some time this summer talking about donor stewardship practices. But do you have the ability to kind of set that system in place for your organization? Some organizations, it's a well-oiled machine. Other ones, it's still something they're working on and figuring out. So this is something we just want to make you aware of, that you are going to be getting donor information daily from November 1st through January 3rd. And do you have the ability to take care of those donors, to make sure that you are following up with them, thanking them? We handle all of the financial, tax records. All of that stuff is taken care of by us for the campaign. You don't have to issue tax receipts or anything like that, but we do want you to get connected with them and start establishing a relationship to turn them from a new donor into an established donor. And then this last one, this is optional, but is one of the biggest benefits of the campaign. And can you participate in the network and training opportunities? Are you going to be able to benefit from the non-financial benefits of being in the campaign? And these are the workshops mainly that we do throughout the summer and the fall. And these are opportunities for you to get to meet other nonprofits here in the campaign, do collaboration events, networking, things like that. Do you have the ability to kind of take advantage of this? This is a big advantage of the campaign. And do you kind of have the capacity to jump in on that as well? All right, let's talk in depth about matching grants. For us at Give, we are kind of in this season of trying to figure out a name change between matching grants because they really function as a challenge gift. Those of you in the nonprofit world are probably very familiar with matching grants and challenge gifts and that kind of stuff. But the thing is that we've removed all the language from our matching grant forms that says that we'll give the money back if we don't meet the total match because nobody ever asks for it back. If you have a donor who's willing to give a $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 matching grant, they believe in your organization. They want to use that to inspire other donations. So it really is a challenge gift. So language aside, we're working on the semantics of that, of how we want to kind of ease into using challenge grants a little bit or challenge gifts a little bit more for our language purposes and talking to donors and the public. What it basically is that we're just asking that you secure one of those challenge grants before the campaign starts. We'll look at the website here in just a minute from last year's campaign so you can see how it's leveraged. But we found that if you have at least a $500 matching grant to begin with, your campaign is off on a much better footing than if you start at zero. So these are secured in the late summer, early fall for your organization. So you have to be willing to have conversations with donors or your board, things like that, in order to start that process. So it's a little bit of work that's done on the campaign that's done at the end of the summer, and they are paid out by October. So they're a part of your check already that's building money throughout the campaign by October. We let that be done on the website through cash, ACH, check, credit card, however they want to do it. But it does give them a chance to be advertised on your landing page. So your organization gets your own landing page on the campaign that you get to direct traffic to, and it will have your matching grant donors listed there. So it's a great opportunity to leverage local businesses, partnerships that like advertising, donors who really like donor recognition, maybe people who want to do it as a memorial gift. We have the ability to put all of that up on that public-facing website for everybody to see. So it's a great thing to have that advertising there. It is a $500 minimum. We don't like it to be five $100 gifts that ends up being harder to cobble together. The exception that we do make is for board gifts. So if you do have a board challenge, we can work on putting together smaller checks to equal a larger sum. But generally speaking, we want you to go after your well-established donors who really already support the work that you do and know that by giving a gift through the campaign, they're going to help inspire giving for your whole organization for the end of the year. And then, as you know, everybody knows the psychology of matching grants that really it shouldn't be so inspiring, but it really is because we find that the more matching grants that you bring in, the higher total that you raise. You can go through our leaderboard on last year and just see what a difference it makes. We have organizations who bring in a lot. They really strategize all year long in their donor stewardship plan to push people towards doing matching gifts for the campaign so that they can leverage them through the campaign. You don't have to do that in your first year, but we do have a lot of organizations who have quite a strategy around how they do their donor stewardship and their matching grants to really take advantage of using that opportunity. So again, the main things for matching grants is you have to secure at least one $500 matching grant to get your campaign started for the year. All right, let's talk about the campaign timeline just a little bit. So the applications are due May 9th. We'll let you know by the end of May if you are participating in the campaign or not. And so the campaign really kind of officially starts in June. Most of the summer, it is just workshops. They are workshop collaboration events, they're networking events, they're opportunities for you to think about how to build the best campaign that you can, how to learn about social media, how to come up with a good social media strategy for the campaign, but for your whole entire organization. We work on building your website, your landing page together with copywriters, people in advertising and marketing to really help you really hone in on what your message is, what you're going to be. We work with just some fun collaboration events. We do a lot of meet and greets where we're just bringing in maybe you and your board members together to give board members a chance to chat. We did that last summer, which was a lot of fun. We also do ones where it's just us going to see some of our nonprofits spaces that they have. We did one at the Garden of the Gods Visitor Center for the foundation last year, where we just get to have a chance to come together and talk about what we're doing as organizations. Getting to know other nonprofit colleagues here in the city is such a valuable resource. And also people who've been a part of the campaign for a long time. You can take a peek at that leaderboard and go find Happy Cats Haven and what is it that you're doing? Why do you always get so high up there? Or things like that. What is it that, how are they using the campaign? Most people are happy to have those conversations and excited because as the campaign grows together, we all benefit. So everybody wants to have a nice, healthy, thriving campaign. So we work together. But these opportunities to meet and greet, often our nonprofits host big events or they're hosting a fair or things like that, and they invite other nonprofits to participate as well. We've been working with Banning Lewis Academy, and they do a great fair in the summer for all of their families and invite anybody in the Give campaign to come participate in it. So it's great collaboration events, a way that we all get to work together as a nonprofit community that happen. So that happens June through October. The workshops are not mandatory. There are two that are mandatory, one at the very beginning orientation and one at the end that is a Zoom where we walk through the website. But the rest of them are optional. So if you've got a big event going on, you've got other things, you are just at capacity, you are focused on the mission, you don't have the time to take advantage of them, you do not have to attend. We do try to record them and make the information available to you after, if the format works for that. If it's a presentation about social media, we put the slide deck up, we record the session so that you do have opportunities to still get that information because you're part of the campaign. And also anybody on your staff is available to come to any of those events. So it doesn't just have to be your fundraising staff or your ED or whoever. Even if you have a volunteer, last year we had a couple of board members from one of our smaller nonprofits who came to everyone and took great notes and took the information back and shared it with the staff. So those events and those collaboration events and workshops are available to your whole staff. Matching grant portal does open up in August and September, and they have to be paid in October so that we have a chance to make sure that your numbers are correct and that your donors are being recognized on your landing page the way that you want to before it goes live. So that ask for that $500 gift at least has to start in the summer. So that does start in August. It is just a form on the website that you can direct your donor to fill out. They have the option to pay it right then and there through credit card or ACH, or they can send us a check. But that way we get it taken care of as smoothly and easily as possible. And then you will get notified about it as well so that you can kind of keep track of what's going. And then the campaign starts November 1st through January 3rd. It is a long time period. And the campaign has different things that go throughout it, but the campaign runs from November 1st through January 3rd. All right, here's some of the benefits of being a part of the Give campaign. We've already talked about workshops. So those are great opportunities that run throughout that entire year. Let's talk about grant partners. We have foundations here in the city that partner with Give. And basically what they do is they set aside a bucket of money for Give participants every year. When you have been selected by the Give Review Committee to be a part of the class of 2025, you are automatically eligible for those grants. You don't have to do any other paperwork. You don't have to provide any other grant things, all the grant stuff. Just by being accepted, you are now an automatic candidate for those grant partnerships. The biggest ones we have currently are with El Pomar. They do $1,000, $1,500 grants. We also work with the Bloom Foundation, which has been averaging about 9 $1,000 grants. We also have organizations that come alongside and provide matching challenge grants throughout the campaign, similar like the Tiemens Foundation. So if you were put in the arts category, the Tiemens Foundation provides a $2,000 grant that can be split up depending on when your donors choose to give. So different organizations are providing a pool of money to give participants that you are eligible for, and you don't have to do any more application. They will take the list of nonprofits that have been accepted for the year, and they will make their boards will make the decision about where they go. And then that money will be added to your total without any processing fees taken out, will be added to your total at the end, and will also be displayed on the website as a matching grant for you. So it goes towards that matching grant total to help bump up and inspire people to help you reach that total. Similarly, we also have competition cash prizes. This has been held over for many years. One of the things that we really have as a core value at Give Pikes Peak is to invest in a new generation of donors. So we have some things that are aimed specifically at inspiring young donors. We have a young donor challenge. So this is donors under the age of 35 who give. Last year, we did a big push for this, and are continuing to invest in this for this next year about doing a give guide for our families in the city. So how to get your kids talking about philanthropy. And through some of those efforts, we saw our young donor population from 23 to 24 go from 9% of our donors in 23 were under the age of 35, and last year it was 14% of our donors were under the age of 35. So we're really proud of seeing that kind of difference that we're making, trying to inspire young donors to get involved, to be a part of the campaign. And to do that and to make it, knowing that young donors don't necessarily mean lots of money, we do have sponsors and businesses that come alongside us to give some perks to that. So if you received the highest number of young donors that's self-identified through their donation, last year we were able to give a $2,000 prize out for that. And so we have organized businesses that come alongside to do these cash prizes. And these are, again, money that's added to your check at the end of the campaign that's for you for general operating. The other competitions we did last year were a social media challenge. So did you take what you learned in your social media class and really have a really engaging campaign that works on a digital platform that inspires younger donors and gets people engaged and excited and letting them know, do you have a comprehensive plan? Last year, that was a $500 gift. And then the other one that, or it was a $1,000 gift. And then the other one that we did, knowing that not every nonprofit has a mission that speaks to that under 35 crowd, we did a generosity across generations. So it was who has the biggest span of donors. So last year we actually had an 85-year age gap between our youngest donor and our oldest donor for one organization. So we really love seeing how they inspired a whole 85 years worth of donors to get involved. And that was a $500 cash that was added to the end. So competitions haven't been announced yet for this year, but it will be similar things, cash prizes that are added to your check at the end for general operating donations. Media opportunities, we have partnered, so these are some of our local sponsors from last year. Our biggest one is Fox 21 and the Loving Living Local show that happens on Wednesday morning. But we also work with our newspapers, a lot of our radio shows, some podcasts, things like that here that target the Southern Colorado area specifically. And these are media opportunities. We guarantee that you are eligible for all media opportunities. Sometimes it ends up just being a scheduling thing, which you can get on. But especially the Fox 21, that is a media opportunity that runs year round. So even this month, Wednesday morning, if you chime in to Loving Living Local at 9 o'clock, you'll see a give campaign. So every Wednesday morning, we have a spot on a TV show that runs on Fox 21. And it's just an opportunity for you to go get interviewed. You don't have to talk about the give campaign. You don't have to talk about any of that kind of stuff at all. So whatever you're doing, if you've got another fundraiser that's coming up, if you're hosting a golf tournament, if you're looking for volunteers, if you've got a big event, you can take advantage of that media opportunity to just share your story in whatever way makes sense. We are just trying to get people to learn about how important nonprofits are in our community, and our media partners come alongside for all of that. So some of the media opportunities are year-round opportunities. So once you've been admitted in June, those opportunities will be continued to be pushed out to you until May of next year. So there's organizations that have media time scheduled for next month that were from last year's class as well. So as soon as you've been admitted, we will start running those media opportunities right away. So it's not just media opportunities during November and December, it goes year round because our goal really is to just let people know about what you're doing. So our media partners have kind of adapted to that. And it used to just be trying to get you, one of the 8 air times that you could get in November and December. And we've really worked to expand that so it's year round so that we are raising awareness of what nonprofits are doing in the Pikes Peak region. There are campaigns that are opportunities that are specific to the campaign, but there's fewer of those. So we try to even it out so everybody has a chance throughout the year. And then again, a lot of our media partners just keep a list of nonprofits for the class with your contact information so that if they need a story about something or if they're looking to fill some airtime, they reach out to you. So it's a great way to get known by local media as well. And we talk a little bit about how to leverage those relationships during workshops as well. So media opportunities throughout the year, specifically during the campaign, we also run media that's just driving traffic to givepikespeak.com or .org. And that goes into hand to hand with our local marketing. This is something I've been with Give for about 18 months, and this is something that we have heavily changed our strategy on and are seeing some really great statistics coming back from, which is we are pooling together kind of the marketing budget of all of these nonprofits to push towards getting people to go to the website. So we are doing much more in digital advertising in streaming advertising, social media advertising, billboards. Hopefully you saw us on a bus last year, things like that, where we are making sure that if you are in this demographic of population that lives in this region, that you are being very targeted by marketing and ads. Our job at Give Pikes Peak is to let as many people as possible know that the campaign runs November 1st through January 3rd. And we kind of see it as your job to let people know that they can find you on the campaign. So we're doing big advertising, big marketing pushes, paid marketing pushes, as well as our media partnerships to get people to go to the website and learn about what's happening here and what nonprofits are participating. And because of that, one of the exciting statistics is that we continue to bring in new donors year after year after year for our nonprofits who participate in the campaign. So we all know finding new donors is always kind of that thing that we're looking for as a nonprofit. But we see year after year reported from all our nonprofits that it's one of the easiest ways to get new donors for them in the region. We can't guarantee a certain number. We have no idea how it's going to land that year, how people are going to respond to your message, but we know that we're bringing new eyeballs. This last year, we saw a 45% increase in traffic to the website from the year before. We saw an incredibly great click rate of engagement on our digital advertising and the marketing plan that we put in place this last year. And we saw, I want to say somewhere around 750 people who made a donation for the first time or returned after a 3-year absence. So we are bringing fresh eyes to the campaign every year. They're finding out about what you're doing, they're getting excited about it, and they're getting involved. Lastly, our nonprofit colleagues, like I talked about in the workshop, having a community of support, people who are walking through this crazy year of grants and chaos, and who knows what money you have and what money you don't have. This is a great place to have some support through that. I used to fundraise for another organization and participated in it. And honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of the campaign is just getting to have colleagues who do similar stuff that I do, to get to bounce ideas off of, to partner with, to find new things, ways that we can leverage my mission and your mission together. How can we work together to make our mission stronger and our community better? Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about reward perks, which is something that's a donor benefit, but is something that helps drive that new donor pipeline to you. I think I've got it here. So if you participated in the campaign in the past or have seen the website or looked around, these are examples from last year, but we use donor rewards to help drive donations to kind of inspire philanthropy, to make it a little fun and gamify it a little bit. And we see a great response. There are quite a few donors who every year are emailing me to make sure, can you resend my receipt? I need to take advantage of this, or I want to go to this class. But what we do is partner with local businesses. Almost exclusively just local businesses. So places like Bread and Butter Neighborhood Market, Mission Coffee, Bristol Brewing, who's a great partner of ours, Story Coffee. These are just the first couple of levels. We go up to 7 levels, and we also introduced specific perk days last year. But when you give a donation of $25 to $99, you get these things in your receipt, your tax receipt. That's sent out automatically. So they have the opportunity to have some fun, to get involved. And it's a great way for our local community businesses to get involved in the campaign. They do a lot of advertising. They help share about what's happening for us in the campaign. And it's just a great partnership, and another way that we're really heavily investing in that local message that helps kind of separate kind of what happened at Colorado Gives Day. Hopefully you had a chance to look at our website. If you go to the website right now, this is the workshop schedule from last year. I think you can see this. But it's the givepikespeak.org/workshop. You can kind of see the workshops that we were doing last year. We will have similar ones set up. We also do them in separate locations around the city, different things that you can take advantage of. So they really go throughout the whole time. Again, these are all optional workshops. You don't have to attend them except for the 2. One is orientation, just to make sure that we all start with the same information. And then the website walkthrough, which is on Zoom, so that we're ending the campaign or getting ready for the campaign to launch, all on the same page of learning how the website works during that year. So those are workshops. You can go look at that in your own time. But if you have any questions about that, there will be similar types of workshops that are done this year for the campaign. And then if you want to see exactly what the campaign looks like from last year, so the 2024 campaign is still live. You can go to campaign.givepikespeak.org. It's in the drop-down menu under the About Us section, so you can see it there as well if you want to go look at it. But none of the donation links or the checkout pages or any of that stuff are active anymore since the campaign is closed for the year. But it does give you an opportunity to see what your organization would look like. So if you want to go and jump to All Breed Rescue and Training, you can see what their website. You will be given a similar page to this if you're part of the campaign, and you are in control of all of this. I don't write any of it for you. You do it all. So your what, your why, your goals, your kind of your facts, your quotes. This is all information that you get to put together to really speak and share your story with donors who are coming to your page. This is where the matching grants have been show up here. So you can see that their board put together one and they had an anonymous one that came together. So you can see how many donors they brought in, what their total was before their matching grant. So they raised about $29,000 in the campaign. They've been in the campaign from the beginning, have a long system that's been working for them. So you can go check out that website again by going to campaign.givepikespeak.org. So you can kind of see what it looks like to get more familiar with it. All right, let's talk about dates, and then we got one more slide, and then we'll be done. Applications are due by May 9th. So if you've seen the application there, I do suggest that you read all the way through it before you get started. You can create a JotForm account for free and then save it and then go back and add things. But we do ask you to upload quite a bit of information. So just make sure that you have gone to find all of those documents, your 990, your profit loss, all of your budget, that kind of stuff. So you've got it. It's really helpful for me if you save those files with your name in them as an organization and the year, just to help keep them straight. But just go read through the application before you get started on it to make sure you're ready. If you have any questions about it, please reach out. Happy to help with any of that. We do offer invitations to the campaign if you've been selected. We have a pretty quick turnaround. One of the things that we introduced in this last year is for our nonprofits who have been a part of the campaign and meet certain eligibility requirements for 5 of the last 7 years, they were granted a 3-year acceptance. So if you've been a part of the campaign for several years, 5 to 7, have a demonstrated success rate in the campaign, that you are continuing your mission here, no big changes financially, mission, or staffing wise, we do issue a 3-year invitation so they don't have to keep reapplying. So we already have 40 organizations who have a 3-year acceptance for this year. So we have a shorter turnaround time on our new applications this year. So we'll be able to tell you by the end of May if you're in the campaign for the year. So the orientation meeting will be in June. So once you've been selected, you'll have that the meeting, the date's still to be determined because we do have this new exciting thing that's just popped up. So we were trying to figure out the timing, all of that, which is that we have a new partnership with the Switchbacks this year, and they're doing a 719 community night on June 25th that Give Campaign nonprofits are being invited to. So it's going to kind of be kind of a launch party, announcing of the new class. We get to do it kind of in a big way this year at one of the soccer games downtown. And have some fun, exciting things that are happening. We get to take over the fan zone, do all sorts of fun stuff, commercials and things. So we're really excited about that partnership, but it's just throwing our timeline off just a little bit. So I don't know when that orientation meeting is going to be, but it will be in June. But that's just an hour, usually in the middle of the day. And it will be just for going over all just expectations, making sure we're on the same page. It won't take very long to get it done. So that happens next. And then the campaign, like we talked about before, goes from June on. But these are the next couple of dates that are coming up, making sure you get your application in by May, and then knowing that that June 25th night will be a big night for us if you are selected. So block it off on your calendar. Last but not least, let's talk about money, because this is a big deal for everybody. We do charge a fee as an organization to participate. I wish we didn't have to, but we do. This started back when the campaign was still being run by the independent, because as their financial situation changed, their ability to fund the campaign changed. And so the conversation happened between the IndieGive and the nonprofits who participated and said, the campaign's going to have to close. or we have to start charging. What do you want to do? So this wasn't a fee that we just came up with on our own. It came in with conversation with the nonprofits who participate. And this is the structure that came into place, and we have not changed it. We don't raise these fees. We do the best that we can with this money to do the best campaign that we possibly can. And we are working as my goal as a new ED here to change kind of this model, but it's a slow process of changing the entire funding model of an organization. But we are working on leveraging better sponsorships, doing these community partnerships, things like that in order to eventually hopefully reduce the fees. But for now, we do have to charge them. But what we think of them is collaboratively, we are putting a pool of money together in order to elevate nonprofits in our community. And so it is $850 for a new nonprofit to participate, and it's $1,250 for those who are returning. However, we guarantee that you are going to raise at least $1,500 by the campaign, or we make up the difference. And usually we find if you participate in the campaign, you have at least the one matching grant, you've got a social media presence, it's not hard to raise well over the $1,500 in your organization, even as a first-year participant. But we will never let you lose money on the campaign. We will always make sure that you're getting a check for $1,500 at the end of the campaign, no matter what, and that you all the benefits for the campaign are yours. We do charge a 3.5 processing fee for donations to help cover the ACH, the credit card processing fees, all of that. But we ask your donors if they're on the website if they're willing to cover that for you. So last year, the average effective rate was actually 1.78%. So that's the only part that was taken out of the checks for most nonprofits. It is an individual number, so based on how your donors respond. So some of them had a much lower number, some of them had a little closer to 2. But nobody had no processing fees covered for them. So often your donors are very aware of this. It's a pretty common practice. And we are not raising our processing fee. We do keep it at 3.5, which is lower than some of the other campaigns. And we're working towards, again, ultimate goal is that we never have to charge fees, that it gets covered through sponsorships and gets covered through our own fundraising here at Give Pikes Peak, but we're not there yet. But that is our goal to do. And as we work together and the more nonprofits that we bring to participate in the campaign, the healthier that marketing budget gets, the better the campaign gets, and it gets better for everybody to do it together. So we do have the fees. Will be given in an invoice with your acceptance letter in May. So the fee is taken out or is invoiced in May and June for you to pay. And if it's an issue, let's have a conversation about it. Don't let it be something that turns it off. Let's see what we can do if there's anything that we can do to help with that. But often it ends up just being it's covered for your donors. If your donors end up covering it for you, and then you're guaranteed to make the money on the campaign. So those are the basics parts there. So questions. Again, I am staff right now. As I said, we have trimmed our budget as best as we can. It is just me run with the board. We do accounting through contracting and web through contracting. So if you are emailing Give at Give Pikes Peak, you were just reaching me. I'm the other side of that. This is my cell phone number. It's not on the website, so jot that down or take a picture of it. But that's my cell phone number. If you have any questions or anything that you want to follow up with me with, we have an office phone, but it routes to my cell phone and sometimes does weird things. So guarantee you can reach out on my cell phone and get me that way. I will open it up if you guys have any quick questions you want to share or chime in on. I didn't see anything else pop in the chat, but let me know. I'm happy to do it. I'll stick around for another 5 or 10 minutes. But again, follow up through email. Let me know if you have any questions or anything that I can help with. We're really excited about the direction of the campaign this year. Like I said, the board and myself have been really invigorated by seeing how impactful the campaign is for our nonprofit community. And we really want to make sure that we are adjusting the campaign so that it makes the most sense for our nonprofits, that it is doing what we said that it's going to do, which is inspiring philanthropy in our community and supporting you. That's what we want to do. We want people to know about the incredible work that you're doing. And we're doing everything that we can to give you that platform and to give you that megaphone here in the Pikes Peak region. So if there's any questions, feel free to stick your hand up. If not, please reach out if you have any questions. But I look forward to learning about your organization. Thank you.